They said he was slow, but from Alabama to the White House, from war to love, Forrest Gump proved that the ordinary can become extraordinary. The story of Forrest Gump begins in Savannah, Georgia, as a single white feather drifts through the air, landing softly at his feet. Sitting at a bus stop, Forrest begins sharing his life story with strangers who come and go, each captivated by his simple but powerful words. "Life is like a box of chocolates," his mama once told him. "You never know what you're going to get." Those words would define the winding road ahead. Flashback to young Forrest in 1950s Alabama. Born with a curved spine, doctors fit him with heavy leg braces, making even walking a struggle. But his mother, Mrs. Gump, refuses to let that define him. Despite his low IQ, she pushes the school board to let him attend a regular school, teaching him that he's just as good as anyone else. At home, their boarding house hosts a variety of tenants. One of them, a young Elvis Presley. Elvis strums his guitar, and Forrest shows him a quirky new dance he invented with his braces. Later, Forrest and his mama watch in amazement as Elvis performs those very moves on national television. Forrest's first day at school introduces him to Jenny Curran. "Are you stupid or something?" she teases. But instead of mocking him, she offers friendship. Jenny quickly becomes Forrest's entire world. They walk home together, climb trees, and share secrets. Yet Jenny's home life is far from happy. When bullies on bicycles attack Forrest, Jenny shouts the words that change his destiny. "Run, Forrest, run!" As he sprints, his braces snap apart and he discovers a gift. He can run like the wind. But one day, Forrest finds Jenny missing from school. Searching for her, he stumbles upon her abusive father, with police eventually taking Jenny away to live with her grandmother. For Forrest, it feels like losing half his heart, even though she's now closer than before. The feather may have landed softly, but Forrest's journey is only just beginning, and it will take him far beyond Alabama. Soon, Forrest's running will carry him into the spotlight, changing his life forever. Forrest's discovery of running changes everything. What began as a desperate escape from bullies soon becomes his greatest gift. In high school, his speed earns him a place on the football field. Every time his coach shouts, "Run, Forrest, run!" he doesn't stop until he's reached the end zone. His unstoppable determination makes him a local legend. It isn't long before Forrest catches the attention of college scouts. Despite his struggles in the classroom, his ability to sprint down the field without fear secures him a scholarship at the University of Alabama. For the first time in his life, Forrest finds himself part of something bigger: college football. Wearing crimson, he dashes across fields, leaving crowds roaring as he helps lead the team to victory after victory. But Forrest's college years aren't just about sports. He finds himself present during historic moments. When Governor George Wallace attempts to block African-American students from entering the university, Forrest witnesses the confrontation. Amid the chaos, he quietly bends down to return a book dropped by Vivian Malone Jones, one of the students making history. Without realizing it, Forrest becomes part of a turning point in America's civil rights story. Meanwhile, his devotion to Jenny never wavers. Though their paths drift apart, Forrest always carries her in his heart. During one rainy evening, he finds her in the arms of another boy, clearly uncomfortable. Bursting with protective instinct, Forrest drags the boy away and fights him. Jenny, embarrassed and upset, pushes Forrest aside, leaving him confused. To make amends, he offers her chocolates, holding on to the one piece of advice she once gave him: to always be himself. On the football field, his talent takes him even further. Forrest's speed and determination earn him a spot on the prestigious All-American team, an honor that leads to a surreal moment: meeting the President of the United States. Yet in true Forrest fashion, the meeting turns awkward when he blurts out that he urgently needs to use the bathroom after downing too many Dr. Peppers. Forrest has no grand plan, no careful roadmap. He just runs forward, step by step, constantly surprising the world. But as his college days come to a close, Forrest's next step won't be on a football field. It'll be on a battlefield in Vietnam. After graduation, Forrest enlists in the U.S. Army. On his very first day of boot camp, he meets Benjamin Buford Blue, better known as Bubba. Bubba can talk about only one thing: shrimp. From fried shrimp to shrimp stew, he knows every recipe there is, and he dreams of starting his own shrimping business after the war. Forrest listens quietly, but he promises Bubba he'll be his partner one day. Surprisingly, Forrest thrives in the Army. His simple focus, doing precisely what he's told, earns him praise from his drill sergeant. Whether it's making his bed, shining his boots, or assembling a rifle in record time, Forrest never fails. For the first time, his straightforward honesty and determination put him ahead of the pack. But even as he adjusts to military life, Forrest never forgets Jenny. At night, he writes her letters, pouring out his heart about the most minor details of his days. Yet his letters go unanswered, leaving him with nothing but hope that she's still thinking of him. Then comes deployment. Forrest and Bubba are sent to Vietnam under the command of Lieutenant Dan Taylor. Dan is a tough, battle-hardened officer who believes in destiny, convinced that every man in his family has died in combat, and he expects no different for himself. Life in Vietnam is grueling. Long marches, endless rain, and the constant threat of ambush. Still, Bubba's endless talk of shrimping keeps the two friends sane, while Forrest clings to Jenny's last words to him: "If you ever get in trouble, just run." One day, during what seems like another routine patrol, disaster strikes. Gunfire erupts from the tree line, and chaos explodes around them. Soldiers drop one after another as Forrest sprints through the jungle dodging bullets. Dan screams for his men to retreat, but Forrest can't leave his friends behind. Amid the explosions and smoke, Forrest makes a fateful choice. He turns back into the battlefield, determined to save Bubba. But when he finds Bubba's lifeless body, Forrest realizes the true cost of war, and nothing will ever be the same. The jungle erupts with gunfire. Explosions tear through the trees as Forrest carries one wounded soldier after another to safety. Each time he plans to head back for Bubba, but each cry for help pulls him in a different direction. First, he saves Tex, then Cleveland, then another man, badly bleeding. Finally, Forrest stumbles upon Lieutenant Dan, his legs shredded by shrapnel. Dan rages, demanding Forrest leave him behind to fulfill what he believes is his fate: to die on the battlefield, like his ancestors. But Forrest refuses. With sheer strength and stubbornness, he hauls his furious commander out of the jungle. Only after carrying so many does he finally find Bubba, his closest friend, his shrimp partner. Bubba is gravely wounded, and Forrest can do nothing but cradle him as the battle fades around them. Bubba whispers his wish to go home, then slips away in Forrest's arms. Forrest doesn't even realize he's been shot in the backside until after the medics pull him out. He wakes up in a military hospital with a new medal on the way, and his world forever changed. It's here that he discovers another unexpected talent: ping pong. At first, it's just a way to pass the time, but soon, Forrest becomes a machine. Day and night, he practices until he's unbeatable. The game gives him purpose while he recovers, and a way to forget Bubba. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Dan lies in a nearby bed filled with bitterness. Once destined for glory, he now feels like half a man. His anger turns to venom, aimed at Forrest for robbing him of his destiny. But Forrest, simple as ever, doesn't argue. He just stays by his side, believing that saving Dan was the right thing to do. When Forrest is finally awarded the Medal of Honor, his mother beams with pride. But Lieutenant Dan can only look on in silence, trapped in his wheelchair. That night, Dan's rage boils over. He lashes out at Forrest, swearing he should have let him die in Vietnam. After Vietnam, Forrest is paraded as a war hero. He meets President Lyndon B. Johnson, who jokingly asks him to show where he was shot. Innocent as always, Forrest bends over in front of the entire White House, drawing laughter from the press. But recognition doesn't slow him down. The Army sends him on exhibitions as a ping pong champion, using his simple determination to represent the U.S. against the Chinese. His focus is razor sharp. Don't take your eye off the ball. Soon Forrest becomes a minor celebrity, appearing on TV, in magazines, and even inspiring sales of ping pong paddles. While his fame grows, the world around him is in chaos. The Vietnam War rages. Protests erupt across America, and the country feels divided. During one trip to Washington, D.C., Forrest accidentally stumbles into an anti-war rally at the Lincoln Memorial. He's invited to the stage to speak, but just as he begins to share his story, someone pulls the wires from the microphone. Thousands listen in silence, unable to hear a word. Then, Through the crowd, Forrest hears a voice calling his name, Jenny. The two lock eyes, racing toward each other. In that instant, everything else disappears. Forrest lifts her off her feet in an embrace, and the crowd cheers as if fate itself had orchestrated their reunion. They walk together under the night sky, Jenny explaining her wandering life as a free spirit among hippies and activists. She admits she's lost, dabbling in dangerous paths, but Forrest doesn't judge. He only knows one thing: he loves her. For a brief night, they have peace. They laugh, share stories, and hold on to a fragile sense of belonging. Yet come morning, Jenny slips away again, leaving Forrest with nothing but memories and a heart that refuses to let go. As Forrest watches Jenny disappear into the crowd, he wonders if he'll ever see her again, his love constantly slipping through his fingers. Life after Jenny drifts away takes Forrest on yet another unexpected path. His ping-pong skills make him a household name, and soon he's invited onto talk shows, even sharing the stage with John Lennon. But fame never changes Forrest. He still misses Jenny more than anything. When his Army service ends, Forrest returns home to Alabama. Remembering Bubba's dream of owning a shrimp boat, Forrest buys one, naming it the Jenny. At first, it's a disaster. He barely catches anything, and people laugh at his efforts. Then, in a stroke of destiny, a hurricane devastates the bayou. Every other shrimping boat is destroyed, except Forrest's. With no competition left, he and his unexpected partner, Lieutenant Dan, haul in more shrimp than they can handle. The Bubba Gump Shrimp Company was born, turning them into millionaires almost overnight. Forrest shares his wealth selflessly, giving Bubba's family a large share of the profits. He never forgets the promise he made. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Dan, who once cursed his fate, slowly finds peace. One day, he surprises Forrest by thanking him, not just for saving his life, but for giving him a new reason to live. As money pours in, Forrest invests in what he thinks is a fruit company, which turns out to be Apple Computers. But despite becoming rich beyond imagination, none of it fills the empty space Jenny left behind. Then, heartbreak strikes again. Forrest's mother falls ill with cancer. Sitting by her bedside, he listens as she tells him that everyone has a destiny, but hers was simply to be his mama. With quiet grace, she passes away, leaving Forrest adrift once more. To cope, he spends his days mowing lawns, gardening, and finding peace in simple routines. Yet deep down, he longs for Jenny, hoping that one day she'll come back into his life. Years later, Jenny finally returns. But instead of joy, her presence carries the weight of secrets and a decision that will change Forrest's life forever. After years apart, Jenny steps back into Forrest's life. She looks tired and fragile, but her smile makes Forrest's heart light up like a boy's again. Together, they visit her childhood home, the place haunted by painful memories. Jenny picks up stones and hurls them at the broken-down house until her strength runs out. Forrest watches silently, knowing that sometimes there just aren't enough rocks. In a quiet moment, Forrest proposes to her. But Jenny, carrying scars deeper than Forrest can see, gently declines. She believes he deserves more than she can give. Despite her rejection, they spend the night together, and for a brief moment, it feels like the world has finally aligned. By morning, Jenny is gone again, leaving Forrest heartbroken and confused. Grief pushes Forrest into motion. With no apparent reason, he starts running across towns, states, deserts, and mountains. He just runs. At first, it's just him, but soon, strangers join, inspired by his endless determination. Reporters chase him, crowds cheer him, and slogans are born from his journey. For 3 years, Forrest runs coast to coast until one day he simply stops. I'm pretty tired. I think I'll go home now. And just like that, the chapter comes to a close. Back in Greenbow, Forrest receives a letter from Jenny asking him to visit. That's why he sits at the bus stop, telling his life story to strangers. Finally, he learns her house is only a few blocks away, and he rushes off to her door. Jenny welcomes him in and introduces him to a young boy named Forrest Jr. The child is his son. Overwhelmed, Forrest embraces the boy, his heart swelling with pride. But Jenny carries devastating news. She is sick with a mysterious virus that the doctors cannot cure. Forrest takes her home, marries her in a small ceremony, and cherishes every last day they have together. Soon after, Jenny passes away, leaving Forrest to raise their son alone. But life goes on. Forrest stands at the bus stop with Forrest Jr., watching him leave for school. The white feather drifts into the sky, reminding us that even in pain, there is grace. And Forrest's story continues in the love he carries forward. Critics widely praise Tom Hanks's heartfelt performance, calling it the heart and soul of the film. Rotten Tomatoes gives the movie a strong 75% positive rating, while Metacritic scores it an impressive 82 out of 100. Roger Ebert described it as a breathtaking balancing act between comedy and sadness, praising how it could feel dreamlike, yet deeply emotional. Variety highlighted the movie as an intimate, delicate tale that balances humor and emotion against an epic backdrop of history. The famous cross-country running sequence almost didn't make it into the film. Executives doubted its purpose, but Tom Hanks and director Robert Zemeckis believed in it so much they financed it out of their own salaries. Tom Hanks struck gold with a profit-sharing deal instead of a flat paycheck. That decision earned him around $40 million as the film became a massive box office hit. Forrest Gump's story reminds us that life isn't about how smart, fast, or strong you are. It's about kindness, resilience, and showing up no matter what. From a boy who struggled to walk to a man who ran across the country and touched the lives of millions, Forrest proves that ordinary people often make extraordinary journeys with extraordinary hearts. His love for Jenny, his loyalty to Bubba and Lieutenant Dan, and his devotion to his son all reveal a simple truth. Sometimes being yourself is more than enough. If this recap touched you, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more incredible stories. After all, just like a box of chocolates, you never know which story will inspire you next.